Hey, my name's Paul, and welcome to this episode in our Glimpses of Jesus series. We're taking a journey through the Old Testament. Our plan is to stop off at the main events, examine them, and see how they point us to Jesus and salvation in Him. Elisha is God's prophet ministering in the northern kingdom of Israel. What's his role? To bring God's word and a reminder of God's power to the nation. A few years ago, I demolished our old conservatory. I took the roof off, took the windows down, and smashed up the floor. All that was left were the foundations. I picked up my new hammer drill with excitement, fitted the chisel, and set to work. Again and again it struck the concrete, but it barely made a dent. With disappointment etched across my face, I had to accept the drill didn't have enough oomph. It wasn't up to the task. When 1 and 2 Kings was written, Judah, the southern kingdom, had been conquered by the Babylonians, the great empire of the day. As the first readers read the call to turn to God and trust in Him, you can imagine the questions. Yes, but is He enough? Can He really defeat the Babylonian Empire? Today, the questions are the same. Christians are persecuted, treated violently, or marginalized on the edges of the community. Is God enough to help them? Jesus commands His church to tell the world the gospel. We go, yet there are so many barriers. Is God enough to knock them down? We face circumstances that hem us in and seem to swamp us. Is God enough to bring us through? In 2 Kings 6, God deals with 3 problems through His prophet Elisha. Each time the message is clear. God's big enough for whatever we face. First, there's the problem of an axe head. Verse 5. As one of them was cutting down a tree, the iron axe head fell into the water, and he cried out, "Oh, my master, it was borrowed." Now, why is this person swinging an axe? Look at verses 1 and 2. The sons of the prophet said to Elisha, "Please notice that the place where we live under your supervision is too small for us. Please let us go to the Jordan, where we can each get a log and can build ourselves a place to live there." "Go," he said. The sons of the prophets are students or disciples of Elisha. The groups got too big, so they request to start a building project. Elisha says yes, and off they go. Verses 4 and 5. So he, that's Elisha, went with them. And when they came to the Jordan, they cut down trees. As one of them was cutting down a tree, the iron axe head fell into the water, and he cried out, "Oh, my master, it was borrowed." To our ears, this doesn't sound particularly serious. You can pick up an axe for between 25 and 60 pounds. That's about 2.5% of the average monthly wage in the UK. Not a massive deal. In Elisha's day, wages weren't so high, barely covering the daily needs, and tools weren't mass produced. This is a much bigger issue than we think. What would Elisha do? Or more to the point, what would God do? Verses 6 and 7. Then the man of God asked, "Where did it fall?" When he showed him the place, the man of God cut a piece of wood, threw it there, and made the iron float. Then he said, "Pick it up." So he reached out and took it. The text says this so matter-of-factly, but the reality is incredible. Put an iron axe head in water, what does it do? Sink. It doesn't float, it always sinks. You're not here. Here, the axe head bubbles up to the surface. Why? Because God can do the impossible. There's something very personal in this account too. It demonstrates that God's a personal God who gets involved in the difficulties of our lives. But it's not just that He gets involved. He's everything we need as well. We all have issues we face, struggles of poor health. Financial difficulties can hit us at any time. Family and relational issues are real and can dog our lives. If we're honest, these can easily become too much for us. They loom like foreboding clouds. But if we face them with God, that's different. Remember, the clouds get burnt away by the sun. The light of God brings hope even in the darkest times. Why? Because whatever you're going through, God is enough. So there's the problem of an axe head. Next, the problem of invading forces. Verse 8 sets the scene. When the king of Aram was waging war against Israel. Aram are a series of powerful states to the northeast of Israel. They're the dominant force in the region until the Assyrian Empire break their grip late in the 8th century BC. And here they have their sights set firmly on making inroads into Israel. But it's not going to plan. Verse 11. The king of Aram was enraged because of this matter, and he called his servants and demanded of them, "Tell me, which one of us is for the king of Israel?" What's happening? Every time the Arameans launch a surprise attack, Israel are ready and prepared. Every ambush that's set, Israel seems to avoid. The king suspects a leak and looks around the room. But his advisors aren't the problem. Verse 12. No one, my lord the king. Elisha, the prophet in Israel, tells the king of Israel even the words you speak in your bedroom. It's not us, it's Elisha. And he seems to know everything, even the words you speak in private. And where does he get this information? It's clearly implied. It's from the Lord. What do we see here? Again, God can do the impossible. Aram sets its sight on Israel. Under any normal circumstances, that would spell the end. But no, God intervenes in a seemingly impossible way and turns the situation on its head. What an encouragement. As we step out to make Christ known, the Bible tells us that the devil will seek to get in our way. He's a formidable foe. He's cunning. He's powerful. He sets traps and launches attacks. Ephesians 6 and verse 12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers of this darkness, against evil spiritual forces in the heavens. Satan and his forces are against us. These are words that send shivers down the spine. But that's if we face him alone. What if we face him with God? The devil can never outwit God. The devil can never deceive God. There's nothing the devil says, nothing the devil plans, and nothing the devil does that God does not know about. The devil couldn't trap Jesus in his life on earth, and he can't trap him now that he's in heaven. Whatever work Jesus calls us to do, wherever he sends us with the gospel, we can know that he's enough. So there's the problem of the axe head and the problem of the invading forces. Now, the problem of a city siege. Verses 13 and 14. So the king said, that's the king of Aram, "Go and see where he is, so I can send men to capture him." When he was told Elisha is in Dothan, he sent horses, chariots, and a massive army there. They went by night and surrounded the city. The king of Aram shifts his attention from the nation of Israel to Elisha. He marches to Dothan and sets up a siege. Elisha's servant gets a shock in the morning. Verse 15. When the servant of the man of God got up early and went out, he discovered an army with horses and chariots surrounding the city. So he asked Elisha, "Oh, my master, what are we to do?" Elisha and the people of Dothan are trapped, and there's no escape. The servant recognizes the problem and looks to Elisha for a solution. Verses 16 and 17. Elisha said, "Don't be afraid, for those who are with us outnumber those who are with them." Then Elisha prayed, "Lord, please open his eyes and let him see." So the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he saw that the mountain was covered with horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. This is incredible. The servant looks with physical eyes and only sees the danger. Then he looks with spiritual eyes and sees the scene from a different perspective. He sees God's power and protection, the army of the Lord, bigger and stronger than the enemy. How's this going to play out? Verse 18. When the Arameans came against him, Elisha prayed to the Lord, "Please strike this nation with blindness." So he struck them with blindness, according to Elisha's word. Struck blind, the Arameans are helpless. Elisha confronts them and walks them all the way to Samaria, the capital city of Israel. Their eyes are opened, and the Arameans find themselves in the heart of enemy territory, surrounded and helpless. They've lost and end up going home with their tails between their legs. The war's over, or at least for now. Aram do come back sometime later and lay siege to Samaria, yet God steps in again and delivers. He's the God of the impossible. Today, Christians are persecuted around the world. And there's a taste of that even here in the UK. Governments see Christians as a dangerous enemy and make life hard for them. Communities shut out the followers of Jesus because they've turned from the popular religion to follow Christ. Christians are kept poor. They don't receive access to education and are often in fear of their lives. Look, it's hard to see people suffering. It's even harder to be the one who's going through it, to not feel safe as you go about the necessary chores of life, to wonder what will have happened to your family while you're gone, to be held prisoner in labour camps, or tortured to give up names of others in the church. This is tough. It's real, and it's heartbreaking. Is Jesus enough in even these desperate situations? Listen to John's words in 1 John 4, verse 4. "You are from God, little children, and you have conquered them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world." John's responding to the lies and persecution of his day, what he calls the spirit of the Antichrist. His response is pretty much the same as Elisha's. The one who is with us is greater than the one who is against us. God is all we need. Today, I want to encourage you to catch the vision of the Lord in this chapter. A God who's not fazed by anything. He's enough and will always be enough. It's a vision we see at the cross. The world throws everything it has into rejecting God. False accusations, the lash of a whip, the swing of a hammer, and Jesus, God's Son, the Lord, come in the flesh, is eventually lifted onto a cross to die. Satan's master plan to defy the Creator. Yet who wins? Sunday morning, the tomb's empty. Jesus is alive. God's enough. We see the same vision of God in the book of Revelation. In chapter 4, we get a view of heaven. Where's God? On the throne. He's the king. He's in charge. Then we turn to the end, the future. Satan, the world, people have thrown everything they can at God and made every attempt to derail his plan. Where's God? Chapter 22 and verse 3. The throne of God and of the Lamb will be in the city, and his servants will worship him. He's still on the throne. He's still reigning. God is enough. And this is the God that we can know today through Jesus, through salvation in him. I want to encourage you, hold on to this truth. You can trust Jesus. You can trust God, whatever's going on in your life today.